Thank you very much, everyone, for this opportunity to discuss some of the data today on liquid biopsy specifically. I'm so happy that before me, there were very good speakers who have extensively talked about the need for molecular testing, CGP, as well as also explained the nuances for NGS and other technologies. So I can solely focus on liquid biopsy and try to keep it short and relevant. So I have to disclose conflict of interest. I'm a Guardant Health employee. However, my goal today is only to discuss science and not promote any of the Guardant products. But within the liquid biopsy universe, the wealth of universe, most of the data is contributed by Guardant. So I cannot skip the Guardant slides or Guardant data, but the objective is not to promote the product. First of all, the need for biomarker testing has been well established and is spoken at length at several conferences. And this was a recent survey carried out by ISLC worldwide and not just few countries. And it clearly shows that except for EGFR and ALK, majority of the other biomarkers are not assessed in more than half of the patients. So that's the current situation worldwide. And Asia is not different from the Western population or the total global population. When you look at on the right side, the reasons for no results, the two most common reasons are tissue related. First is insufficient tumor cells provided. Number two is a quality. So quantity and quality for the tissue could be an hindrance for a comprehensive genomic profiling. As you see here, tumor heterogeneity is something which is very essential to be kept in mind. Even if we have access to tumor tissue, we have to be careful about intra-tumor heterogeneity, which is self-explanatory, which is different clones within the same location of the tumor, and inter-tumor heterogeneity, where the primary tumor in lung may have different clonal population, while the other metastatic sites may have another subclonal population which is dominant. And therefore, even if you take the biopsy, it may not be truly representative of the entire tumor. And that's where ISLC in 2021 recently has updated their consensus on liquid biopsy, focused on NSCLC, and they have clearly outlined what are the advantages and disadvantages for each of the technology. The first one is the tissue here, and this one is a liquid. And as you see here, the disadvantages for tissue biopsy include, which is accepted worldwide, is longer turnaround time, limited tissue quantities for comprehensive tumor NGS, it is invasive, and at progression, repeat biopsy is not possible in all the patients, and also tumor heterogeneity. So these are some of the disadvantages for tissue. And by using liquid biopsy test or liquid biopsy methodologies, I cannot say all of them can be taken care, but at least some of them we can overcome. And that's where there is a strong diagnostic potential for liquid biopsies. And on the right side, you are able to see various sources for liquid biopsy. Because out of all the sources, ctDNA is the most well established, most well studied, and in fact, if I can say, validated and being used in the clinical scenario. Therefore, we will focus most of our discussion today on the cell-free DNA or ctDNA. So we are aware that cell-free DNA is not common. And as you see, even this sample representative of a cancer patient, it could be present in such a small quantity in plasma as 0.4. And that's why it is absolutely necessary that the liquid biopsy test you intend to use, whether it's a clinical trial or in your practice, is sensitive and is able to detect alterations even at a very low VAF. This image is giving an idea about the spectrum of application for liquid biopsy in the entire cancer continuum. Starting as early as in the localized disease, first of all, finding the tumor, even if the patient is asymptomatic, when he's going there for a routine screening, and that's where is the early detection. that's big area for research now with liquid biopsy. Followed by that, in the patients who have undergone surgical resection with curative intent, finding out molecular or minimal residual disease, and then if possible, modifying therapy. And of course, in metastatic disease, metastatic setting are the most well-established uses for liquid biopsy, which is molecular profiling, and then also identifying what are the mechanism for resistance. So liquid biopsy has absolute usefulness across the entire cancer spectrum. And it's not new. It's a very logical and intuitive to think about using blood for managing cancer patients. And that's why if you look at ASCO 2019, there were more than 270 abstracts on liquid biopsies using ctDNA, if that's a search term use. I have not even calculated for this year, but I have no doubt it would be more than 500 with so many companies as well as academic partners working on this technology for liquid biopsy, mostly focusing on ctDNA. So the wealth of evidence continues to increase. And this slide is giving us a timeline how the regulatory authorities, including the US FDA, are looking at this technology and are approving various diagnostic products for using the ctDNA as a base or using other sources from the plasma. And most recently, the historical situation occurred when in August and September 2020, Guardant 360 CDx and Foundation One Liquid CDx were approved by US FDA as a liquid-based panel NGS companion diagnostic test for some of the drugs in the US. So it's a big achievement for a liquid biopsy industry who's working hand in hand with pharmaceutical companies as well as with physicians like you. So I'll first talk about liquid biopsy in advanced stage for a few slides, and then we go to the early stage cancer situation. So one of the question always is there, because the ctDNA is not released in the same quantity in all the patients, because it depends on the stage of the cancer as well as the tumor type, whether ctDNA can be detected in the patients. And that's where this data, at least for Guardant 360, we are confident that there's a high ctDNA detection rate, which is approximately 86% on an average across solid tumors. Of course, it would vary and it would be less in the tumors which are restricted to, for example, CNS like glioblastoma, where there's a blood-brain barrier which is not allowing the ctDNA to be floated in the blood. But still, it's a high ctDNA detection rate. And not just detecting the ctDNA, but realizing that the ctDNA quantity could be very less compared to the typical tissue biopsy. Therefore, it's also important that the test is very sensitive. And within this first 10,000 patients which Guardant analyzed, we realized that half of the reported point mutations, as you see here, most of the somatic variants are on the left extreme of this MAF chart, which are very close to 1 or 2. And when we zoom in that particular portion, we realize that the median is 0.39, which means less than 50% of the point mutations in your clinical practice patients are below 0.4%, which means any test which is not detecting alterations at 0.4 is likely to miss 50% of them. And therefore, the sensitivity for the diagnostic test in liquid biopsy is crucial. NILE is in fact not just was, NILE is in fact one of the largest prospective study for a liquid biopsy test to show that liquid biopsy is non-inferior to standard of care tissue biopsies. And I'm going to show 3 or 4 slides from NILE because it is going to answer the most common questions on physicians' mind about liquid biopsy when they're using in their patients. So it's a prospective study. I will not go into the details of the study design. First, because it's a liquid biopsy test and it is able to analyze 74 genes and which includes all the NCCN recommended biomarkers, 95% of the times you are able to get a report with all the 4 US FDA biomarkers analyzed And the same percentage will hold true even if you increase the number of genes for NACLC to 8, because it is the same test run on the sample for all the 74 genes. Therefore, this number is same. However, when it comes to standard of care tissue, at least in this study, because at the time of the study, there were only 4 US FDA approved drugs. So they are taken only four biomarkers, which are listed here. So with tissue biopsy, only 31% of them had all the 4. And it reduced to 19% if it was expanded to 8 biomarkers, which means by using liquid biopsy NGS, you can get all the genes analyzed in one go instead of a sequential approach, especially when the tissue is limited. And Nile proved that liquid biopsy is as effective as standard of care tissue testing, and it is non-inferior. In fact, numerically, there is a higher number of the patients where liquid biopsy could find out actionable alterations. If we just put all the actionable alterations as 100%, and if we compare liquid biopsy first approach versus tissue first approach in the same patient population, then compared to tissue, which could detect 67% of all the alterations, liquid biopsy goes much beyond and it's able to detect 87% of them, and not just higher percentage of detection, but also faster. So it was 9 days for Guardant 360 versus 15 days for standard of care tissue. And in fact, this 9 has further reduced to 7 or 8 days in real life practice. Using ctDNA to guide first line therapy decisions, because ctDNA results can be available faster, as you are able to see in the graph I'm highlighting, it is 9 days versus 32 days in this particular study presented at WCLC. The faster you get the results, the more likely you are going to use those results to make a treatment decision and not necessarily wait for the tissue results, as you see here in both these graphs. And because the turnaround time is faster with liquid, of course, the time to treatment initiation is also going to be faster. So one benefit leading to several benefits for patients who do not have to wait for effective targeted therapies. Also, not just advocating or suggesting using liquid biopsy as a standalone test. If it is used in complementary to the existing standard of care tissue test you are using, then compared to tissue NGS alone, this is not just tissue SOC, but tissue NGS. If using addition of liquid biopsy can definitely expand the number of patients who are found to have actionable alterations and therefore prescribe targeted therapy, which are more effective compared to immune checkpoint inhibitors and chemotherapy. What about the treatment outcomes? So this is a graph from the PEN2 study, which clearly shows that the clinical response to targeted therapy based on the plasma Guardant 360 detected results is pretty similar to what you would expect if you would have used tissue testing for the same patients. So you can also achieve same outcomes. Now, a good question and a very common question about VAF. What should you do if you have a report with a liquid biopsy which shows a very low VAF? In fact, the lower than what I described in previous slides. What you should do? So this study, and there are several others, including Vision, which have clearly showed that on a liquid biopsy report, if you have an alteration detected, you can just treat the patient irrespective of the VAF and expect the same outcome, because it doesn't impact the treatment outcome for the patients. So VAF does not matter on a liquid biopsy report. Also, talking about using liquid biopsy in clinical trials, this is a graph from the Godzilla study. So Godzilla is a Japanese umbrella study for GI cancer patients. When they used a tissue NGS for enrolling the patients in different clinical trials, it was 4% of the patients who were successfully enrolled in the clinical trials, but it doubled to 9.5% with the use of Guardant 360. Of course, because of the speed and as well as ability to find more alterations. So as you're able to see, the graphs are clearly differentiating with Guardant 360 in the red and tissue NGS continuing to increase continuing to maintain at 4.1 patients. Another interesting use for ctDNA is emerging, which is monitoring for treatment response. And CROWN is a famous study for lorlatinib, and it showed that in comparison to the baseline VAF, if there was a reduction at week 4 or at week 24, or if there was a complete clearance of the ctDNA, then those patients were likely to have longer PFS with lorlatinib. And that's the same thing represented in both the graphs here, especially with molecular responders, which is defined as reduction of the ctDNA, the VF, greater than 50% compared to the baseline. Anyone who has a molecular responder is much better PFS compared to the others. And considering all the evidence I just described in brief, ISLC updated their guideline in 2021, and now they are strongly suggesting to consider liquid biopsy at the plasma first approach, at least in the patients who are at progression, and also at the initial therapy as one of the valid tool and acceptable approach. And also the way I described, emerging tool for real-time monitoring of therapy effectiveness. So that's where I complete the section about what's the current status for liquid biopsy. And in next 3 or 4 slides, I'm going to quickly touch on liquid biopsy in early stage cancers. And I will shift gears from advanced stage tumors to early stage tumors, and from NSCLC, what we discussed extensively, to CRC now for next 3 slides. So this situation about finding out patients with MRD much before radiological progression and its potential implication on the patient's benefit is well known. So far, there has always been a struggle how to find MRD patients in a non-invasive manner. And that's where ctDNA can help in detecting minimal residual disease. After the curative intent surgery is over, if you do ctDNA test and if you find there is a ctDNA present, then there is a possibility that the patient is likely to have recurrence. In another situation, when there is no ctDNA detected, then there is very low chance. Of course, we cannot say 0 chance, but there is a low chance of recurrence. And depending on the situation where the ctDNA blood draw is taken, depending on the risk.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sudhir, just last 2 minutes.
Yes. Depending on the timing, you can use the results to decide what action can be taken up. But compared to advanced stage disease, detecting early stage cancers using cell-free DNA is not easy. And therefore, we just don't limit ourselves to genomic signatures, because using only genomic signatures would lead maximum 50% sensitivity. We also use epigenomic signatures and use both epigenomic signatures in the manner by methylation signatures as well as genetic alterations to give a report which is very simple to read. Either ctDNA is detected or ctDNA is not detected. So this is the flow for Guardant Reveal, which is plasma only assay, compared to some other assays where we need to have a tumor biopsy first to make a tumor informed results. And these are the results. So a 90% sensitivity can be achieved if there are surveillance samples available, which means there are several samples available for the patient after the curative intent surgery. I will skip this. Yes, last 2 slides. Now, most exciting part for using liquid biopsy as a screening tool for cancers. We know that detecting cancer in time is absolutely at utmost importance, because that's the time where we can make the highest difference in the patient's life. But even in the US, not all the patients undergo colonoscopy or the necessary test advice for their colon cancer screening. And therefore, there is a possibility that ctDNA-based screenings can improve patient compliance and therefore detect cancer in large number of patients, which may not undergo the suggested technologies. And there are so many companies working in this space, including Guardant, and the name of the assay is LUNAR-2. There's a large clinical trial, prospective trial running, and we are hoping that this trial's results by next year should throw a light on utility of ctDNA-based test compared to a screening colonoscopy. This is my last slide. So this is present and future, and I have selected to say near future because the future is not very far. Instead of just utilizing liquid biopsy test for deciding whether you want to give treatment A, B, or C, in fact, there are so many more potential indications for liquid biopsy, including the listed here. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attention.